Can I have my afro healthy and have a vibrant colour?
There are so many
factors.
So if you imagine your hair like this room,
right?
Okay,
Thank
and
you.
if I want to enter this room and put stuff in it, like if we want to come in this room, what's the first thing you have to do to get in?
Open the door.
Perfect.
Every hair type, texture has a different strength of the front door. So if you decide to use a product that comes in that door like a SWAT team, there's not going to be nothing left.
You go to work and you're naked. It's inappropriate. That shouldn't happen. My cortex was naked at work.
If you wish to go out there and KFC your hair, you know, your hair's natural keratin starts to burn at 185 and you're there with your 230 degree strength. It's like, it's burning. I don't know why it's burning.
You mustn't use sulfates and you mustn't use silicons and they'll all give you cancer, but they're very happy just whack a box style. You know, and it's like, okay, let's look at the facts. Let's just say, you know what I mean?
I know someone said that henna was like a safer, less harsh option.
But they're not wrong in terms of if you're using true henna, because true henna has been used like within the Ayurvedic or the Indian communities for thousands of years.
In the aisles where it says henna,
that ain't real henna. No. For something that cost you $7.99, and you may have got, you know, a couple boots points on it, it's gonna now cost you 450 quid in a reputable salon to fix it.
Hairdressers that I have come across in my time as a hairdresser and educator will ask the question, what's your priority, the condition or the colour?
Aye.
Oh. You familiar with that one?
I don't think enough of us actually do the patch.
I'm so happy you brought this up because that was going to be like my final. She had her colour done in the morning, and in the evening. In the evening, she was in A&E.
She was in A&E.
You can be deciding to take your hair home in a bag. It will detach, and it will be on the floor.
If you are somebody with afro, curly, or textured hair, try and seek out. You know, if it's an academy or an education facility or a salon that is experienced in that.
I want you to go to a professional, but it isn't cheap and I'm not paying for it, sis. I'm sorry. So as a result, if you do it at home, this is to try and help to make sure you understand if you do not take precautions, what could happen.
Welcome to Texture Talks Debates. This is a brand new show that I am testing with a pilot episode today, where we bring the best professionals in the business to talk about the biggest topics in the Afro and curly head community. I'm just trying to make sure you don't break your natural hair down to its bare minerals like I did. You're welcome. Today, we will be touching on colouring Afro hair. And I need to know whether or not you guys enjoyed this episode so I know whether or not to make more. So, if you do, comment below, tell me you want more debates, and I will do as requested. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. We actually have a new show coming in about 3 weeks. I want to make sure you're all updated. Enjoy.
Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I don't know if you guys out there know, but the reason that we're going to be talking about the importance of colouring Afro and curly hair is because your girl over here did it wrong. And when I say wrong, I'm talking about like a 5-minute bleach. And I know you guys are probably both like, 5-minute bleach, bleach is bleach. And then 2 permanent box dyes. That was it. I think I did the permanent box dyes maybe too close together. I'm sure you'll both tell me. And it ended up making my hair so dry that the inside was split out. This. I couldn't retain any moisture. Yeah? So I thought, instead of me gatekeeping, it's not fair, I will do this. I will speak to professionals on your behalf, and then we can all learn and hopefully not make the same mistakes that I did. Okay? You're welcome. So let's get into it. Today on Texture Talks Debates, we have Anneliesse Hesse. She is a certified trichologist, and she is the founder and director of Humankind Hair, which is an incredible educational facility for professionals, but also they have very sort of, I'd say, focused courses on colouring, right?
Yes.
Yeah? Talk to me a little bit more about your background.
So I've been a hairdresser for 21 years.
Oh my God! Did you start when you were 5?
16. So like a lot of hairdressers, we train like straight from school. Predominantly colouring. We do that for a long time now.
Yeah.
In 2021, I also trained to become a certified trichologist.
Good for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Thank you
because
very
I do
much.
feel like there's a lot of questions being asked that not everyone can necessarily answer, right?
And that was one of the principal reasons why I trained.
Right.
Absolutely. So to not only for myself to be able to answer those questions to my clients,
Yeah.
my hairdressing clients coming in, asking about hair loss, asking about scalp issues, me feeling really quite sad and disappointed in myself, and for them that I couldn't answer them.
Yeah.
So to be able to support them better, and also to be able to, the other objective really was to take that information and to be able to share it with other hairdressers.
Nice.
To try and kind of
Spread.
Yeah, exactly.
Spread the education.
Exactly.
Good for
Yeah.
you, because I think it's necessary. My scalp is like, good.
Yeah.
And over here, we have Rio and Anneliesse, who is a good friend. Oh. Yeah. But more than that,
Of course.
she is Group Education Manager for Revlon Professional. Did you hear me in the back? She is also a curl and colour specialist. Talk to me, Ria, because that's a lot. That's a mouthful
is a
there.
lot.
You've been busy.
I've been very busy. First and foremost, thank you so much for having us. I absolutely love this space, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to share. But my job, very much like you, my lovely, I started when I was 16, when we could leave school and go earn a coin.
Yeah.
For me, really, I actually didn't really understand my own hair type and texture growing
That
up.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, 100%. Like, bless my mum, she had no idea. So
Yeah.
I transitioned through the very start of my career, really focusing on kind of like European, white Caucasian hair, you know, perfecting my colour skill set, perfecting my cutter skill set, but also more about the client experience and making them feel safe and give them an element of a place to relax.
Yeah.
Been with a Revlon Professional for nearly 7 years now. Love the brand.
Yes.
And education's always been in my heart and soul. So I'm very lucky I've got an incredible brand that I work with and partner with that I get to now head up the education. So
I mean, it's got to be a good
Yeah.
brand. 7 years.
Yeah,
Do you know what
man,
I mean?
I
You know
love
when
it.
someone says, "Oh, I love the company," you've been there 2 months, sweetheart.
Of course you do.
8 weeks,
What
sis.
Relax. Give it a year.
Exactly.
So I know you do.
Yeah,
because 7 years
100%.
is a solid stint.
100%. And for me, one reason I love it is because RP are always wanting to change, innovate,
yeah.
be better, you know, bring things to the forefront. There's no tea, no shade to any other brands. I've worked with other brands for a long time. I love them. But for me, Revlon's home.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited because in this new position I'm in now, around the world of texture,
Yep.
CCW, curls, coils, waves, textures, all in between.
Nice.
We're able to now really elevate our education offering going into the latter end of this year and next year. And also our products have come so far.
Yeah.
Like our products have come so far.
These are important things because I think the formulations being made with coils and curls in mind is definitely a new concept for me as a consumer. I'm now thinking, oh, so some of these products actually, they weren't made for curly or coily hair.
I think it's a tough one because we all work with different brands, we all
Yeah.
partner with different brands. But for me, what I loved is that when I first joined RP, it was the first brand for me personally,
Yeah.
in my own lived-in experience, that I found it didn't matter who sat in my chair, I could do their hair with the product.
You knew you had what you needed.
Yeah, whereas before I had to kind of like segue into different avenues. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with cherry picking and have a little bit of what you like
Yeah,
here.
but maybe
what you like
sometimes
there.
you want to just be able to relax.
Yeah.
And know that it's all there.
Yeah, and for me, colour, as you know, like as a professional, colour is king. And I just wanted a brand that I kind of could have concrete authority when I stand behind that chair. It's not going to kind of completely go down a different route I'm not expecting.
You can say with chest that this is going to end well.
100%. But condition, like hair integrity for me is 101. And it was just one of those products, like even since I've been there,
Yeah.
like the R&D department do not play.
It's not a joke time?
They do not play. Every single year, new ingredients, better research and development, more like they do not play. They come out with some of the most patent pending ingredients, technologies I've ever seen. And I'm just like, every time I use it on hair, I'm like, every time there's a new product, I'm like, and like, we've been doing it as long as we have. You don't expect to be kind of like,
Yeah,
rattled.
because you're just kind of, you're expecting like, it'll work and it'll look
100%.
great. But I'm not going to be shooketh by anything anymore.
No,
And then
exactly. Exactly. And it's
I
like,
love that.
you know, when we get into it and we talk more colour, like especially around CCW, curls, coils, waves,
Yeah.
protection in between, acid technology. Yeah, like the difference
Okay,
between
okay.
this,
That's
right?
lacking there.
100%.
I can feel you guys getting ready. Let's
Yeah.
Let's relax.
Yeah, let's go.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, I'm going to jump straight in, okay? And I tell you what, I'm going to throw this at Anneliesse. But I know you can jump in at any time, okay? Is there any way that we, honest to God, can colour our hair safely at home? Is there any way?
I think unless you're a trained professional, I would have to say no.
Ria?
I'm gonna back that 1,000%. Don't come for me.
I had people in the comments like,
Don't come. How dare you?
The influencer's going mental.
Yeah. But you gotta understand, we are professionals.
Yeah.
We have been doing this since we were 16 years old, you know, and even though we look 14, we're pretty seasoned in it. And there is so much behind it, I personally feel, that you don't get on the back of a box. You know, every brand out there will have different avenues, whether it's in the professional division, so with us, or whether it's in the mass consumer division, so it's on your shelves at Asda, you know, Tesco's, etc.
Sure.
But there is a difference in terms of ingredients, but the key part of it is how you use it.
Absolutely.
And that's what we can be able to navigate that situation. Someone at home with no experience, no insight, they don't even really understand their own hair type, texture, or density.
feel attacked.
Sorry, but
Sat here like, oh my gosh, she's speaking to me.
no tea, no shade. But, you know, without that knowledge and
True.
experience, it's, okay, prime example, I'm not a plumber.
True that.
I'm not going to go fit myself in my own bathroom and mash up my house.
That's so true.
and have my other half looking at me like, are you normal?
But I think there is something to the issue of it being in such a pretty, such an unassuming box. And it's just right there. And I can buy it when I buy my body cream and my lip balm.
Totally.
Yeah.
It feels just so chill as a purchase. So I'm not going in there thinking, oh my God. You know, if you went in Sally's, that shop stresses me.
Yes.
I know I shouldn't be in.
You shouldn't be there.
And they
Where's
talk
your trade card?
Talk about trade cards.
Where's your trade card?
I don't know. What's trade?
Why are they so aggressive?
They're
about it
always
every
very
time?
upset. Do you know what I mean? I came in for some tweezers because it was on the way home. I don't know what this trade card is. But places like that, you go in as a consumer, you know, you shouldn't be there. But when I go in booths, I'm there and I feel calm and relaxed, and all of the people are on the box like,
They have a great time.
they
They're so
look
happy.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's nothing about the shopping experience or the retail experience that's like, be careful.
Yeah.
Actually, there is. And that is me. Because if I am in that shop, Paige, I can't tell you how many people I have. I don't even think. I don't. Yeah, I was going to say offered an unsolicited opinion to, but I think that's putting it too softly.
Yeah.
How many accosted is
Accosted
more
in the
accurate.
aisles, yes.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people I've accosted in the super jug aisles.
Really?
Yeah, and it comes from a place of love and from a place of care.
Do you want just stopping them before, like, excuse me, miss, before you buy
Basically,
that?
yeah, I see them with the two boxes going, oh, look at this. And they're turning over the box and they're looking at, you know, that little thing on the back that's like, if your hair colour is this colour, it'll be
Yeah,
this colour.
yes.
But I can see their hair colour and I know they're not going to be that colour and I know their roots are going to be one. And I can't, in good
think that's a public
conscience,
service.
let it happen.
That honestly is like, that's a big thing. Obviously, not everybody might be ready for the truths in the aisle.
Some of them do not want to know. The majority, like, good day to you, miss.
At least you tried. Because, okay, let's break this down. Let's start here. What is permanent dye? As in, how does it work? If anybody wants to jump in, go ahead, because I only learnt this after I shaved off my head. I don't want this for you. So, talk to me, anyone.
Permanent dye. Okay, so like an overview of what it consists
Yes, please.
of. 3 main parts. Many, but
Sure.
3 main parts. The main one is the first one's gonna be like the alkaline agent. So if you imagine your hair like this room,
Right.
Okay,
Thank
and
you.
if I want to enter this room and put stuff in it, like if we want to come in this room,
Yeah.
what's the first thing you have to do to get in?
Open the door.
Perfect. So that's what. Ta-da! So that's what the alkaline agent does. So
Okay.
commonly that could be ammonia. In more recent years, that's been replaced with other kind of derivatives or some monoethanolamine. And MEA is one that's used a lot of the MEA.
Yeah.
all you need to know. There are other sort of things, but they essentially they all do the same thing.
Okay.
They open the door in your hair being the cuticles.
Okay. The
so that's
outer
first
layer.
part. Exactly. Because if it can't get in,
Yeah.
what's it going to do?
It's going to sit on
Not
the
very
outer
much.
layer.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which is the definition of more of like a semi-permanent that just washes off.
Oh, stop it.
Right?
Okay.
So that
Yep.
you're getting no coverage, no lift, no vibrant colour. Yeah. So the second part is the colour molecule.
Okay.
That will go in, and then with it goes hand in hand with its oxidant, the developer.
Okay.
20 vol, 30 vol, everything from sort of a 5 to a 40 and
Okay.
so different strengths of peroxide.
Okay.
Essentially, people call it different things: oxidant, peroxide, developer.
And the strength of it, what does that do?
A couple of different things.
Yeah.
One, it will, depending on the type of colour you've mixed with, impermanent in this case.
Yeah.
One, it will control the level of lightening, so the amount of natural pigments
Right,
it removes.
yeah.
And the second job it has is to oxidise, to develop, have a reaction with the colour molecule, causing the colour molecule to grow, develop, and become permanent inside the hair.
So the ones that have the stronger oxidant
Yeah.
is probably like the super bright colours.
Sometimes it depends, because it depends what type of hair you're applying it to. Not what type as in what texture, but in
Yeah.
like, is it already been bleached, lightened,
Right,
etc.
right, okay,
So that
cool.
that can vary. But
Yeah.
if you're applying it to natural hair and you're going, let's say you're going from like a dark level of hair and you want to lift it and get a really, really vibrant red, then you probably have a relatively strong oxidant.
Makes
Mid
sense.
to slightly stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, to help get the vibrancy, to remove enough
Okay.
of the dark so that the red can be bright.
And then the last, is there a last step we're waiting for? Is that
that's
it? Is that
pretty
literally,
much it,
so you
yeah.
open up the door,
Yeah.
oxidant jumps in,
Yeah.
the strength will depend on what type of hair it's going on,
Yeah.
and I guess the vibrancy of the colour you're looking to achieve,
Yeah.
or how much
Often.
pigment you need to take out of
That's
the
it.
hair.
Yeah.
I don't know who I think I am. And and then that's pretty much it.
And
And
that-
then
yeah.
the molecules, the colour molecules will then be like trapped in the hair.
Yeah, they come together and
They come
create
together
the
and
end
then
goal.
it
Yeah.
makes the colour.
Yeah.
Okay, why is that bad?
Well, think about it. You know, every hair type, texture has a different strength of a front door. So
My head.
if you decide to use a product that comes in that door like a SWAT team, there's not going to be nothing left, right? And like that's how I distinguish the difference between ammonia fueled color versus ammonia free. One will kind of come in the room like SWAT,
Yeah.
and one will open the door slightly like a sniper. They're still taking out, they're still doing the same end goal.
Ammonia, SWAT.
Yeah, for me,
Ammonia free,
sniper.
NOx.
Yeah, because it's a lot more of a gentle entrance. They're both still opening the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're both still getting entry into the hair.
whether the door stays on
It's
its
just a
hinges.
different route or avenue. Exactly. As if it stays on the hinges. So it booted the door down. But the reason I think it's not necessarily bad, because let's also be very open and frank here. Ammonia has been an ingredient that's been used for over 100 years.
I was gonna
So it
ask.
has a lot of heritage, a lot of research and development behind it. And like us, we are professionals. So
Right.
therefore we partner with professional brands, which means the levels of ammonia, all of these key active ingredients, without getting too technical, your precursors, your couplers, all these ingredients that formulate inside that tube of colour you see. When you're partnering with professional brands, we are regulated. So we have to regulate the amount of ammonia we use. We have to regulate the sort of pigments that we use. We have to ensure that that product has been efficiency tested, researched, trialed hundreds and thousands of times to ensure it
Is that
performs.
not happening?
The problem is we can't tell you what happens outside in the mass market.
Do we not know how much regulation?
I mean, it depends the brand. I mean, if without going too deep, if we look within our own community,
Right.
and the recent kind of stories we've seen around carcinogenics in kind of like relaxers and products like that, within the black community especially, you know, they're only now coming to light what some of those true key ingredients are.
It's always later down the line.
100%.
Much later,
And so for me, if I'm going to use any form of chemical, which colour is, which
Let's
pre-liner
remind
is,
ourselves
it is a chemical,
Yeah.
right? I want to make sure it's a chemical that's one, regulated, two, been tried and tested, and three, what it's going to do is going to say. I cannot guarantee, if I don't have that expertise, knowledge and a backing of either a professional or a brand, whoever it is that you work with that's a professional brand, at the back of a box in the middle of Superdrug. So for me personally, I 100% agree with you. I do not feel personally it is safe for someone to colour their hair at a box at home without any sort of expertise. Can I answer why it's then sold? No.
I was like...
Because people will buy it.
Exactly.
I mean,
It's demand,
people.
isn't it? Yeah.
People.
Lots of people. Lots of
Yeah,
people.
of course they will.
Do you know what? I think actually when you were just saying that, Rio, I was thinking, well, let's look at that question like in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
Is it safe for somebody to colour their hair at home? And if they're going, yeah, you know, it's fine. Okay, would you trust your next door neighbour with no hairdressing training or expertise to colour your hair for you?
Not today, Kim.
You know, so...
Yeah.
Talk to me about worst case scenarios. I don't mean to scare you, but also I do. So for me, as I said, my hair strands split down the middle and the cortex, which is the inner part of the hair, was exposed. For anyone out there that doesn't understand, it's not meant, it was naked. Imagine you go to work and you're naked. It's inappropriate. That shouldn't happen. My cortex was naked at work.
First things first, you're more than welcome. Let's be really open and frank here. Just want to put a disclaimer before I go into this.
Sure.
You know, it's always someone's personal choice.
Yeah.
You know, our hair is a part of our personality, how we express ourselves. We're not trying to like make a crusade where, you know, you don't colour your hair. All we're saying is that you just need to be mindful of colouring your hair, and the most safest avenue for us is to put it in the hands of a professional.
Yeah.
The reason behind that is because not only can you have internal damage like what you saw, but also you can have more kind of different ailments. Like you can be deciding to take your hair home in a bag. It will detach and it will be on the floor. Okay? You know, especially when I see these like box bleaches.
Oh, don't.
You know, don't even get me started on lifting shampoos. I will rat-a-ta-ta up the place. I cannot. Like, so for me,
I want to see all the rat-a-tat-tat.
100%. I just think for me, it's like, you know, there's so much more damage, like, especially when you are looking at, you know, curl definition, you know, like how your hair sits, how it falls. Even me, I'm a professional. I have lightener in my hair, which is a form of bleach. My curl has changed the way it wants to sit, how it wants to move, how it wants to move in shape, because I've used a pre-lightener.
Yeah.
When people start going ahead and experimenting or exploring with with mass consumer chemicals, they run the risk of creating external damage to the hair. That takes more time, money, and effort to then fix. So for something that cost you $7.99 and you may have got, you know, a couple boots points on it, it's going to now cost you 450 quid in a reputable salon to fix it.
Yeah. And it's not just that, it's I think to add to that, it's the effect on your mental well-being as well.
Preach it.
100%.
Yeah.
I really want to sort of jump on and support what you were just saying, Rio, about, you know, it being part of people's identity, because I completely agree with that. And it's all very good and well for us to sit here and say, you know, if you want to colour your hair, you need to get it done with a professional. The fact is, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Majority of the time. And for some people, for quite a lot of people, their hair colour is a really big part of their identity. And their only way of doing that may be to do it at home. So I don't want to sit here and say, no, you can't do that. I don't think it's wrong to colour your hair at home.
Yeah.
I think you do what you need to do. It's just you need to understand the risks,
Set the
and
precautions
try to
in
mitigate them
place.
as much as possible.
100%.
Because I didn't do any mitigation. And I honestly think, don't lie on yourself now. I don't think you do either. I don't think any of us do. I think we feel like it's all right. It's all right. I think the problem is we think it's not that deep. I've said that, so it's not that deep. If I leave it on, I forgot, I left it on a little bit long. It's that energy. And then it's only until it is that deep that you're like, oh my God, I now have hair that's rinsing out in the bath. Or now my hair would have been chronically dry forever because of course it can't retain moisture if it's open and exposed. And I remembered the first time I did dye my locks, I did think they felt very crispy. Very crispy.
What's it?
It was giving crunchy
Was
nuts.
giving
All I did is just run out and was like, let me get some more cream. I thought product will fix it. And that's something I think we need to understand, is that it's not a scare tactic for you not to do it. I think we all would rather you go to I want you to go to a professional, but it isn't cheap and I'm not paying for it, sis. I'm sorry. So as a result, if you do it at home, this is to try and help to make sure you understand if you do not take precautions, what could happen.
100%. And I think, you know, as I said, for us, it's more so the fact of that there are also other avenues. You know, there are colleges, there are academies.
Colleges.
So there are
I
colleges,
see.
academies where if you cannot, you know, it's cost of living crisis. We're in a recession. We're not going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I drove here in a Maybach Bentley. Yeah. Struggling for parking.
You know what I mean? Not me on the tube.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? DRL life.
Riding my oyster.
But there are definitely other avenues. You know, salons are really up for doing promotions. You know, I'm an educator. So anytime I'm facilitating education in a salon, I'm always asking my salons, have you got models?
Yeah.
If they, you know, so there are definitely options out there. I think it's more so just letting people know where to go to see those options. But I definitely think, you know, for us, we have to be mindful that, as you rightly said, like it should be a personal choice, but you are still playing with a chemical. It's not painting your nails.
Because I had a really interesting discussion with a trichologist where basically I said, you know what I think the problem is? I think the problem is that we, first of all, don't understand the hair we have on our head at the point of wanting to colour it, in terms of how healthy it is, how strong it is. Like, we just don't know. And because we don't know how far we have to fall if we make a mistake. And the concept of health, I think, is different for everybody. Yeah. Because healthy for somebody could be, I want my curl pattern intact. I want to make sure my hair doesn't feel dry. But, you know, I don't know if the elasticity is a little off. I don't know. For the sake of the vibrance of the red, I don't mind. But for somebody else, it might be a case of like, I just don't want my hair to feel brittle. But, you know, if it loosens the pattern, it loosens the pattern. Talk to me about how you work with the sort of balance between good colour and health.
It's such a good question. And it's a conversation I have with my hairdressing clients and just with friends and people all the time.
Yeah.
You know, people have different levels or boundaries as such.
Right,
you know,
they've got
like
their limits.
expectations of what healthy hair is for them. And of course, some people's hair has more natural elasticity and more strength to it than others. My hair's naturally weak. Like, a bit of bleach could walk in the room now and it's like, see you later. You know, like, it's just
Noted.
It's just in the corner. Other people's will, you know, take more of a battering. Like, can withstand a lot more.
Yeah.
And of course everything in between as well, right? So, and a question that, as a hairdresser and as a colourist, not so much on the trichology side for this one, but let's say if I have a client come in and they're, you know, I want to be blonde, I want to be blonde, I want to be blonde.
Want to be blonde.
Blonde. 95% of the clients.
Yes.
Want to be blonde. You know, we could get into why that is as well. But
Yeah.
Part two.
Hey.
Yes.
But there's this ongoing thing where some hairdressers, and this is not me or anybody I work with, but hairdressers that I have come across in my time as a hairdresser and educator will ask the question, what's your priority, the condition or the colour?
Aye.
You familiar with that one? Yeah. It's
What?
yucky, isn't it? Yeah. But it's really, really common, sadly.
It is.
And even more yucky is the answer is quite often, I just want to be blonde.
I told you.
Yeah.
Blonde.
Yeah. Blonde.
That's so awkward. Why are you asking them? Because should that not be as like, I don't know, some kind of weird Game of Thrones hairdresser code where it should always be health?
Yes.
Integrity.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Integrity
100%.
It
first.
should be like, I don't know, some blood crypt, like written somewhere. Do you know what I mean? I'm picturing a book.
Absolutely.
And it should be like, don't ask.
Yeah.
Because people like Paige will be like, colour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
lots of people will because, and it's understandable because until, like yourself, until you've had quite an extreme situation of damage,
Yep.
then you're not to know.
Because you just feel like it's not, you're untouchable.
100%.
You just think, oh, I feel so sorry for, you know, I don't know, Luke's sister's friend. She's now walking around with a pixie, bless her.
Not a pixie.
The pixie she didn't want.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The pixie that was forced upon her because that purple didn't go as planned. And then you just think that'll never happen to you. But then the problem is, if the professional is also kind of pushing this narrative of like, okay, let's choose, then how are you supposed to really believe, like, especially now me, I'm scarred, I'm low-key scarred.
Yeah.
And I personally feel like, is it even possible? Can I have my afro healthy and have a vibrant colour?
There are so many
factors.
Tell me the truth.
There's so many factors. I mean, especially when we're working, like, you know, you could lead into probably the $1 million question, so don't shoot me if I say this before you've even asked it, if it's on your cards. Yeah, trust me. But it's like, is professional hair colour or hair colour in your hair in general safe or healthy at all? You know, it is, as I said, you know, many times you're working with a chemical.
Yeah.
For me personally, to echo what you said, is consultation's key. You know, we need to fact find, we need to ask any questions in correlation to your question of can you colour your hair healthy?
Yeah.
With a professional, yes. With guidance, yes. With time, yes. And with investment, yes.
Yeah.
Like, you can, but it's going to be a journey. And I think sometimes we're in this microwave generation of we want it now.
I think the time thing is an interesting one.
Yeah.
We're very spontaneous and I don't really want to wait, but it might have to happen over a couple of appointments is what you're saying.
Exactly. And for me as well, like, integrity is key. We have clients who sit in our chair every day whose expectations are here, their hair integrity is here, and we've got to meet them in the middle and also wrap that up in a bow that suits their budget.
True.
Their time, you know, all these elements, sorry. So for us, it's really important that we kind of have that consultation. You need that time to be able to set limitations, but also set expectations and guide them on a journey of what actually is achievable. Yeah. You know, like for me, for a lot of my curly clients and my colour clients as well, a lot of them don't even realise the impact that just their basic environment around them has on their hair.
Such a good point.
Pollution.
Pollution.
Don't get me started.
Pollution.
Don't get me started.
Impacting the colour.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Even the water we wash with.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me started. So
I'm so sorry to tell you this.
I'm stressed. Someone talk.
So for me, like, the whole pollution element is it's a bit that kind of I feel, and we as educators, we talk about this because we know it, but as a mass, it might even be something that in the pro division people understand, and even in the everyday community to understand, is the fact that, you know, that oxidant you were talking about, what you help to activate that colour in your hair, that reacts with any pollutants that sit on your hair.
Reacts in what way?
So you have things that sit on your hair like metals,
right,
lime from your water, UV, radiation, and they are invisible and microscopic on the hair, and they react with your hydrogen peroxide, and they create a newfound demon called a free radical.
Oh, there she said it. Yeah.
What?
A free radical is like me after 4 tequila shots.
No!
Uncontrolled. I don't drink. Was. Uncontrollable, unstoppable, and will not stop until something is broken and damaged. And what that free radical does, it basically goes in and it starts to diminish your hair's natural form of protein, which we call keratin. So that happens every time hydrogen peroxide comes into contact with your hair, and that sits in a majority, especially when we're talking about permanent hair colour, with a lot of your permanent hair colour solutions.
So, okay, this free radical, is it just mashing up your hair slowly over time because you've left the house?
You don't have to leave the house.
You don't have to.
All right, Anneliesse. All right, Sister.
You're not safe in your bed.
But it's true. Like, unless you're Naomi Campbell and own a hazmat suit, or you decide to hibernate in a cave, even there, it'll still get you. Pollution impacts us all. It ages us, it creates elements in our hair, and it definitely impacts your colour. So for me, you know, especially when I have my curly clients who want to go lighter, I'm like, we need to have a talk about that. Reds, coppers, burgundies, what we call vivids, they all always been renowned for high fade. Well, why do we think that is?
The radicals. The radicals!
What we call, in a very posh, expensive term,
okay,
external aggressor damage.
Oh my gosh, that's
So
actually
but it's basically free radicals that are a contributing factor. Pollution has a real negative impact and does have a contribution factor to how your hair color lasts, takes, and the results. So it's like we have to factor that in. You said the water we wash it, like it impacts you in every single corner that you look at.
So then the free radical, is it just making the colour less bright, or is it also impacting the health of the hair?
Both.
Both. And how does the professional colour and the professional experience, how does that kind of cover you?
It's a really good question. So the reason why we're so professional is because with a lot of our brands and a lot of brands out there, they will put in key active ingredients to help combat pollution fatigue in the hair. So, one key active ingredient we've seen in the market for a long time is chelating agents. This is basically how I describe as like a pollution Pac-Man. Goes in and basically takes
Thank you, by the way, for like dumbing this down for me. Thank you, because I know you both are, and I think you're so sweet. So thank you, because that helped. Now I know.
Yeah, it basically goes in, encapsulates and puts in prison the pollutants, and then we remove it during cleansing. And so for us, it's like, all the bonding agents and stuff like that. There are many high-end ingredient-driven ingredients that are available in the Pro division.
But not in Superdrug or Boots.
Well, there's versions, there's interpretations.
I guess it's the strength and quality as well.
But that's
They
it.
don't know what you're using.
Exactly. That's it. They don't understand. I mean,
Or
it's just a
how to
question mark
use it
over it. Yeah.
as well.
Because even if, I think that the other issue is the skill thing.
Yeah.
Because I also think that if you're a professional, and I just don't think any professional would, but if you're a professional and you do decide, I'm going to get a permanent box dye, let's say, and you used it, I still think because of your knowledge and skill set, you would still apply correctly. You probably like do things that aren't on the box. In terms of the timing, and maybe you'd use the special foil and blah, 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 and you do all these things that we also don't know because we've not done a colouring course or any course on hair, most of us. So then I think that the other thing that I'm very interested to understand is when it comes to bleach. Bleach. I've dabbled for years with bleach, and I don't think I've ever had a particularly positive experience, but when I say positive, I mean health positive.
Right.
I got my colour.
Yeah.
I got my colour,
Yeah.
but ended up bald afterwards. So, yes, cut it all off again. Yeah. But I'm trying to understand, the people I see on the internet with the afros and the head of beautiful curls, and they are the brightest colours. I know there's bleach involved. There has to be bleach involved.
Yeah.
How is it that they are retaining that curl pattern though?
Bleach doesn't have to destroy your curl pattern.
Are you sure?
Absolutely, I promise you.
My afro's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Retract. Yeah.
It's terrifying. It's scary.
No, bleach will always damage the hair, unquestionably, as with any permanent colour, but especially bleach because it's stronger. But it doesn't have, and it will usually have an effect on the hair texture and the curl pattern. Not always.
No.
It very much depends on the strength, the amount of time it's in contact with the hair, the hair itself. As I mentioned, some hair has less strength and elasticity. Don't forget the thickness of the strand. So a thicker strand, my strands are like gone. And then
So it's
friends
easier.
of mine have strands that are like thick as your arm,
Yeah.
So people's hair will withstand different amounts, but it will always have a negative effect on the condition, but it does not have to and should not destroy it.
Because my curl pattern used to basically get flattened.
That's not what you want to happen, right?
Well, no.
Yes.
But then, sometimes yes.
And do you know what? Yes, again, that's something that
And
clients will sometimes
again,
go, oh, cool. And you're like, no, it's because it's damaged.
Yeah, I think that again, we'll cover that in part 2.
Yeah.
As to why I was happy about that. But I also find it odd because I would bleach my hair and honestly, it would I went to white and it made it pretty flat.
Yeah.
My mum went to a similar white and she still had curls in there.
Yeah, but it just echoes onto what you've just said. It's like everyone's hair type, texture, and the way it moves and shakes is different. And therefore, you can both mix the same bowl of free lightener, but to get 2 different results. The trick to be able to lift healthily is with the skill and the knowledge to do so.
Something else, heat. heat afterwards. That's another thing that I don't know why this seems to be an internet thing, but it's like bright colour done at home probably incorrectly, I'm sorry, but it's true. And then it goes on to a straightening session or a blow dry session. I see the two paired together a lot.
As I said, we can only really speak from our kind of experience in terms of professionals in salon every day. We'll perform a colour service and after or a cut, we will dry the hair. But we will put, certain protectors in the way to ensure that the hair integrity is best protected using heat.
Yeah.
Heat plays a factor in colour results, whether they fade, whether they don't last. I think we have to think about the stuff we're seeing online. It's the way in which it's being executed. Like when I see people straightening wet hair,
I can see it's really bothering her.
I'm old school.
She can better say it.
You better dry that hair off first before
That's
you run
not old
any.
school, that's just professional.
Thank you. You can do all your
Intelligence.
but if you wish to go out there and KFC your hair, your hair's natural keratin starts to burn at 185 and you're there with your 230 degree strength. It's like, it's burning. I don't know why it's burning.
I know why.
Exactly. So for me, it's heat is a very tough subject. Heat can be utilised after colour. I do think it can be utilised after colour to showcase, show, and to be able to give you your end style. But I think the way in which it's used, the method of how it's used, and the products that it's used alongside with play a key part.
There's actually a lot to it, isn't there?
Yeah, like for
I don't know how I took this so lightly. There's actually a lot to it.
100%.
Like even down to the heat protectant and I didn't know about that 185 burning situation.
Yeah.
And we don't know enough to be doing this.
Yeah, but
I think you've summed it up really well there, Paige.
No, but I'm coming from the perspective of I'm one of you. So never feel dragged. I'm sat here, I cut my hair off. Do you understand? So I'm saying this as a revelation moment where I'm like, no, we actually shouldn't be playing around with it. Oh, more questions. So when it comes to, this is selfishly for me, you guys are just here because you want to be here. This is my episode for me to win. So when it comes to colouring and bleaching Afro hair, when you're taught this, are you taught on straight hair? Someone on Instagram told me to ask you this and put you on blast.
It's a great question.
It's a very good question.
I'm from a small town in Kent. I mean, I got the hell out of there as soon as I was able to make my own money. I haven't been back there for a very long time.
Sure.
I go back once a year for Christmas.
Okay, it's
right?
okay, it's safe.
And I get the hell out. And it was, 21 years ago. So I was taught on, the demographic was largely white.
Yeah.
And I was taught on straight hair.
Is that the same for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I'll be really open and transparent. We're only now starting to really see the cult of, this brand new culture of embracing, the classifications of type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, now becoming standardized in our education. And you also got, without going too deep into the cultural remit, you understand that there wasn't a, big headmasters for Afro textured hair in the 50s and 60s. Us as a community, we had our hair done at home with Auntie.
That's true.
You went to your cousins to get your braids done.
That's true.
Your mum did your relaxer. Like, there wasn't that space. So you got to understand, our education was very much institutionalized in what the mass market was, which was white Caucasian European hair. However, with that being said, you've got two professionals here who cross-cultural hairdressers. We work with all different hair types and textures. And so that's another reason why now is more of an exciting time and a safer time to walk into salon as curly, coily, textured, or just beautifully curly person to walk into a salon, because we have more experience. Our education is now focused on that. We now understand clearly the difference in your texture versus my texture versus your texture, how your hair characteristics are going to react to pre-lightener versus my characteristics.
And they have to be coloured differently, right? This might sound really stupid, but like my hair, your hair. Yeah. If I go in, we have to go under different techniques.
I think technique is always personal to your professional, which is another reason why I don't like people using box dyes at home, because we don't have that skill set there. At the
Slash,
moment.
there's no technique.
The technique is there is no.
Yeah, exactly. The technique is the glove and the bottle and the tube thing.
That's it. Make sure you shake it up for 2 minutes.
But there are definitely different techniques in terms of like things that we would manage differently. Like with me, and as I said, this is personally for me.
Yeah.
Other professionals might do their own thing, and
Okay.
we all have our own kind of thing. But personally for me, there are certain limitations when it comes to bleach. There are some of my clients who will go, pre-lightener is not the avenue we're going down with you.
Really?
Yeah, because again, integrity over anything. You want a bright pink, bob? Come with me. Let's go get a wig.
Yeah, absolutely. I would
Like go down,
Really?
100%. Go down the protective style route because hair integrity is key. This is the one accessory that you're born with and you die with. Fingers crossed. And it's part of your personality, who you are. You should not want to just be wanting to completely destroy that for clout for something that you want for a weekend. Do you know what I mean? So
I agree, because I think the spontaneity is a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's fleeting, but then that fleeting decision will like turn the journey of your hair like this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like you could have been on track. But I also think it seems to be understanding what you've done to your hair up to that point. Can it hack it? That seems to be a key thing, because for me, I'm going to give it, God willing, at least 2 years. That's my goal before I colour.
she's tweaking now. She wants to colour it now.
I think it depends, like, what your objectives are.
Exactly.
Like, and what are your primary objectives?
Well,
and
there
that is
we go.
not me saying, what's your priority? And it's not that at all, because I'll have, like Rio said, I'll have some clients that will come in, I won't go near their hair with bleach.
Exactly.
And I'll have that conversation with them, but it won't be like your hair can't take bleach, because that's, you're talking to
it's
humans.
trash.
Exactly.
Garbage.
It's sensitive.
It
and
is.
It's
But I
personal.
think we need to know, because my first priority is just big, healthy afro. Yeah. So give it 2 years from here, right here. Yeah. From then, I might want to play.
Yeah, of course.
And at that point, I think the key thing is that it's healthy. Yeah. So I think I might have a better experience coming to you guys with 2 years worth of unchemically treated afro hair that's literally all new growth, no heat.
I mean, we as hairdressers, we love what we call like a virgin canvas.
Yeah.
It could be that.
We can put ourselves in
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because there's so many before and after.
Yeah.
Tripods.
Yeah. 100%. Like for us to have hair that's completely, as we say, virgin, untouched, your options are a lot more.
I'd be getting all the excitement.
Exactly.
Because we can be creative then.
Yeah. But again, remember, time, money, investment in terms, and that incorporates your time, your investment, and kind of knowing like that your expectation might be here. We as a professional will help you get there, but we might just do it as a journey. It might not just be overnight. Okay, I'm a platinum white blonde,
Okay, so let's speak truth to this afro. Okay, so this afro, not at this length necessarily, but I don't think that really matters in this fake example. So if I came in with this head of hair and said I want it to be white blonde, is that possible?
Look, you can put if you put bleach. Sorry, look.
There we go.
If you put bleach on anyone's hair and leave it on for long enough, you can get it white blonde.
But
that doesn't make it advisable.
No. So even at its healthy state, what would happen to it, do you think?
Well, what bleach basically does, it goes down and it removes all the melanin pigment that sits in your hair, and it basically removes it and leaves what we call raw lift. And then with that raw lift, that's when you get these gorgeous kind of like toners that you hear of. That's what we put on to help counteract whatever your raw lift that we're left with. Yes. What you have to understand is that with your hair type and texture, believe it or not, it will lift quick.
But it's what it will be left with.
And also,
what afro will I have?
You've also got. Sorry, Don.
No, go on.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say.
I was like, come on, who's going to break my heart first?
You've also take it away. I'll stamp it on your tongue.
You've also got to understand as well is that underneath that pigment, there is so much more that goes on. So like for me, especially like my genetics play a massive part in the way my hair lifts.
Okay.
So like because of my mix, like I'm Nigerian mixed with white, my Nigerian like hair, even though it's mixed and it's like a...
It's in there though.
Yeah, I know. It's in there.
Yeah.
It's in there. And it rears its ugly head when it comes to my raw lift.
Here we go. What
because
happens?
Orange.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Orange.
Yeah, I know that.
Like literally, and so we go through like staircases of like undertone or a pigment that we see being exposed, i.e. raw lift, and sometimes you'll hear people, oh, my hair's yellow or my hair's orange. That's what we see. That's what we see. But when, for me personally, like we have terms like DOP, distribution of pigment. Again, another professional term. Don't worry about it too much. Yeah, exactly. We're just plugging the series
We're
here.
just putting ourselves back in.
100%. I've already booked my parking. But yeah, so basically that then plays a massive contributing factor. So for me, my hair harbours a lot of red with a lot of yellow. And so I'm very hard. I will lift quickly, but I will hinder or stick at a very aggressive orange undertone.
And
exactly. And so
that's hard.
Exactly. So it's like trying to get to red to then get to white. Honey. Which is why I say it's a journey, you know, because with some of my guys, I'll kind of base bump them first.
What does that mean?
So I'll basically use different elements and different methods to bring them up a little bit first, and then staircase them up to lift, rather than just trying to go 0 to 100 in one session. One, it means that I can give them a bit more of I'll be honest with you, it's to ensure that they know how they can cope with how their hair is going to feel in their new transition of their new light colour.
Right.
2, to manage hair integrity, as that's so important. But 3, also, it allows me as a professional to understand where we're going. If I try to do it in one full sitting, which for me, you know, was going to take up for you time, money and effort, and we run up into an obstacle, like for example, you tell me your hair's virgin, but then halfway through we realise it's not so virgin.
I do be lying sometimes.
But sometimes people don't realise.
They don't
well.
realise.
Like, you put a semi on, it's been marketed as semi, but actually it wasn't a semi. And, you know,
Exactly.
That's quite a lot.
You don't know. So for us, it's easy as a professional sometimes to stagger that journey, because it just allows you to be able to get where you want to be in more of a kind of a holistic, natural way that I personally prefer to do. That's just my personal.
No, I take it on board.
You know, for me, anytime you're going to touch pre-lightener or bleach, you're playing with fire.
Yeah.
So you can play with it. I have bleach.
Can I play with it?
I love bleach.
I prefer that somebody plays with it for you.
Exactly.
I'll be like,
Do it
you
with
play with the
friends.
fire.
Don't do it alone.
I love bleach. I think bleach is amazing. I think it's so transformative. But for me, I think also like what you said, and I think you put it beautifully, you gotta, especially with bleach, like I'll die on that hill. You should not be using bleach at home. Also, the skin implications.
I was just going to say, the thing we haven't even talked about yet, actually,
Scalp.
is like the scalp.
Scalp.
Absolutely. And it's not all just about the risks to the hair.
No.
You know, if you're applying a product to the skin, maybe you don't even mean to, maybe you're trying to apply it to the hair, but if it gets onto the skin.
It'd be like that
quite
sometimes.
easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to do if you don't
Yeah,
know what
it
you're
is.
doing. Even if you do know what you're doing. But, you know,
We've all been there.
easy to do. If that product is in contact with the scalp, maybe it's not a product that was designed to be in contact, or maybe it is okay to be on there, but it's on there for too long, or maybe all of those things are fine, but for multiple reasons, your skin doesn't have a good reaction with that. Like, it's not the worst case scenario, probably to a lot of people feels like hair breakage, but actually there is a much worse case scenario than that, you know, and that could be chemical burns, which could mean permanent hair loss.
Yeah.
You know, if there's damage down
Scarring.
to a certain layer. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Jesus. And I mean, I don't think enough of us, again, I'm going to say us, don't lie now, I don't think enough of us actually do the patch.
I'm so happy you brought this up, because that was going to be like my final.
Being honest. Being honest.
You know, as us as professionals, we have to, by law, skin test, especially if you are partnered with
legally.
Look, I'm a branded girl. My salons know you have to patch test. You do, because we're working with chemicals, which therefore means we have public liability insurance. Suze, who's picked up her box that Ollie Willoughby said that's the shade for you,
That's
straight
the
up.
one.
When it's four shades out, doesn't have public liability insurance, and so she doesn't decide to patch test, and then she unfortunately has something called like anaphylactic shock, which is where the system basically reacts to, you know, a key active ingredient within permanent hair colour, which I'll let you pronounce. So they can have a reaction to something called PPD.
Right.
That you can end up in hospital with life-changing, you know, not injury. Well, yeah, life-changing injuries. You know, it is. It's you know,
get too dark.
we're
Listen, Paige loves a balance between dark and light.
Yes.
And if it's the truth speaking.
Exactly. So you can, you know, if you're not patch testing at home, which, let's be honest, those boxes do not give you enough product to patch test and then keep that product activated to then use 48 hours after.
They put it behind your ear, is that what they say?
Yeah, usually it's
Put a little,
behind
just a
the ear.
little,
Yeah.
I didn't
I mean,
48 hours before.
or on the wrist.
Yeah, we say on the arm now, which isn't ideal, but because there's been cases in the past where someone's put it behind the ear, they live on their own, they haven't seen they're having a reaction.
That's so stupid. You're right.
I know, but so that's why some people say here, but I mean, true say, I wouldn't want my gorgeous denim jumpsuit getting ruined with a nice bit of tint there.
Do you know what I mean? But I do feel
but at the same time, so yeah.
Again, that's just one of those things I just don't think, I don't think I've ever done it.
Well, you know, the thing is, if you're going to colour your hair at home, often, and this is not always,
Yeah.
but often part of the reason for that would be cost.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well,
if
yeah,
you're
you'd
buying
have
a
to buy
box,
it, and then
you'd have to buy 2 boxes because you couldn't use
Oh,
that same
no.
one, leave it, and then use it 2 days later.
Exactly, it won't work.
You know, so it
mean-
just doesn't get done. a lot
Which
of
is
the time.
which is then again causing risk. So
Yeah.
if you are someone who is at home that wants to colour your hair, but you are concerned in terms of like health, integrity, and more so your own health,
That'd be nice.
then I definitely would always recommend to go and seek a professional, because it's very hard to patch test with these boxes
It is-
at home.
it is hard.
You have to buy 2.
I feel like you're patch testing with some like concoction that, as we've all kind of agreed, we're not sure what.
It's also not just doing the test itself, it could be quite hard to read the results of the test sometimes because although some people,
True.
very unfortunately, and it is rare, but it does happen,
some
will have a
rare.
type 4 allergic reaction, which is like, you know, what you see that as anaphylactic shock.
Right.
It's like, you'd know it was happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
hospital
yeah,
trip.
yeah.
But that's not always the case straight
Really?
away. It's very common as well for people to start off with a more of a sensitivity sort of
Yep.
reaction,
Oh, that's-
some irritation, some redness, you know, things that aren't uncommon. The sort of reaction you can have to like fragrance or something.
I was gonna say I get little rashes here and there all the time.
But over time, these, you know, your immune system will. The first time, let's say, it had a bit of a distaste for it.
Sure.
The second time, it goes, no, I really don't like that. And the third time, it goes, oh my god, no, I can't deal with this.
I have had enough.
Yeah, exactly. But
God.
you know, the fight that it then puts up can lead to be life threatening.
It can.
Yeah,
and the
it's
worst
serious.
thing, it is serious. And I think
is.
we don't speak about that aspect enough. You know, we're always talking about hair integrity, scalp, ultimate health, but actually, I've said it about 15,000 times and I'll keep reiterating it.
Third.
You are playing with chemicals. And that's why for me personally, I'm not a doctor. If someone's ill with me, I go to a doctor to get my prescription. I feel that when you're working in that realm, especially in professional hair colour, especially in bleaching, and these elements, it is in your best interest, even if it's not your choice, to always seek a professional's advice, because you know, we've all seen it when reactions kick off, and you know, we've been hairdressing a long time. It's sad, we don't ever want to see it, but if you see someone from having a sensitivity reaction all the way up to anaphylactic shock, it's not nice.
You've seen it?
I've seen in my career, I've seen 2 anaphylactic shock cases.
Really? Okay.
And it was-
how? What was the context? They're just in the salon.
No. So it happened a little bit delayed. It happened quick, same day, but it went from she had her colour done in the morning, and in the
In the evening?
In the evening, she was in A&E.
She was in A&E.
It's, again, if you think about what's
Oh my
happening
gosh.
when a type 4, that sort of allergic reaction is happening, an immune response reaction,
terrible.
Yeah.
it can take time
Yeah.
for all of
my
the, you know,
gosh,
the
for it to
antibodies and
actually,
everything
like, just come together
break
to-
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually like swelling, puffy eyes, you know, the kind of things you see. I think it's more so the fact of that people see that and get worried, but it's also the aftermath of,
Absolutely.
you know, the decompression of the swelling. And then unfortunately, you 9 times out of 10 will never be able to have colour. Well,
even a skin test.
Skin test. You can't colour after that.
Ever.
The risk's not.
The risk of
it.
yeah.
If you ended up in A&E,
Exactly.
and typically
Oh my
your immune
gosh.
system fights more and more each time. If you're in A&E this time, you might. Sorry, I know this is really
No,
dark,
you
but
might.
you might not make it
The next time.
Yeah.
It's too much of a risk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So grim, isn't it? I know,
my
but it's
God.
so true.
I'm not. Because I know it sounds so bad, but it's true. Like please don't think I'm being callous and laughing. I'm not. It was just your delivery was just bang on.
Yeah, no, listen.
And I laugh because it's like we've been talking about this for years, and we finally have a space to say X, Y, and Z. It's a dangerous.
We don't know
kind of thing.
this.
Yeah, and people don't.
I promise you, I'm sat here and listen, this is gonna be one of those where I'm on the tube and I've got like, I don't know, Adele on, and I'm just like, because why have we been playing like this? It's not a joke.
It's really not a joke. And then it like, I was about to say it makes me laugh. It doesn't make me laugh. But I mean, I find it so questionable then when you see this, venturing into a slightly different topic.
Go ahead, venture away.
When you see people, typically sort of influencers that maybe
Sure.
are professionals as
Sure.
well, on social media,
Sure,
are
sure.
talking about like, you mustn't use sulfates and you mustn't use silicons and they'll all give you cancer, but they're very happy to just whack a box style. You know, and it's like, okay, let's look at the facts. Let's assess, you know what I mean? Like, this is a serious risk.
This is a proper serious risk.
I
I'm that person in the comments like, did you patch test though?
Please DM me and let me know.
100%. 100%.
Oh my god, okay. Another question. Henna.
What do you want to know?
What is it? Because I remember there was a point where people were like, henna is the safer option. And then there were people that then said, henna got everywhere. It be on the walls, it be on my clothes, and it won't leave. Then there were people that were like, I went in for a brown henna, now my hair is blue.
Sure.
So I'm trying to understand what is this demonic substance
So there are
that I've
many-
heard so much about because I don't trust it.
Okay, I think you're right not to trust it. If you don't know if you don't know much about something, then
Well,
why would you trust
it's too
it?
many
It's like a
conflicting
person,
opinions
right?
over the course of the last 5 years.
100%.
Yeah. There are many different types of henna, but it comes back to like the original henna.
Right.
Is typically it's found more in India.
Okay.
There are many different types of it, and usually it will give you, if it's real organic henna, it will give you a red colour.
Yeah.
So that's where, you know, a reddy sort of browny orangey colour. So the hennas that give different colours to that have different things added to them.
Yeah.
So if you think about, like, you know, when you go on holiday when you're like 13, you get a little henna tattoo, like a cute dolphin jumping over.
yeah, in Tenerife or Benidorm.
Yeah. Obviously, I never did that. But those ones that are black in colour, they will have lots, like huge unholy amounts of
henna.
PPD,
PPD.
of pigment added to it.
Yeah.
So that PPD is what's commonly in a lot of hair dye as well. Oh God, you said
Do it. Say it. You start now.
Hang on,
You start now. Firm it.
Paraphenyldiamine.
Sounds good.
Bang on.
I was going to say, don't look at me. I don't know. I won't know.
This is why I stick to PPD or PTD.
Yeah.
Straight.
So that's one of the main colourants used in hair dye,
Yeah.
hair colour as well. And it is, you know, as Rio was saying, like, under vigorous testing and everything, it's classed as safe,
Yeah.
right? But it depends on the usage. So if it's like natural organic henna, it's not necessarily a risk. But if it's black henna or different colours, well, if it's different colour, if it's like blue, for example, it's not henna, it's indigo.
Exactly.
You know, it's something different.
Yeah.
So it's only henna if it's black.
Red.
Red.
Usually.
Red,
Or if
yeah.
it's black, it might be henna, but it's had more like
Pigment
huge
pushed
amounts of
into
pigment
it.
pushed
So it's
into it.
artificial henna.
Yes.
It's not true henna.
Yeah, it's like enhanced.
So is
And that
true
will
henna
add
actually
high-
good?
True. I mean, look, it depends. Everyone has different reactions to substances, but it's not like a listed allergen. But black henna that's had lots and lots and lots of PPD added into it is a high risk allergen because it's huge quantities of PPD.
Yeah.
And does it work? Does henna work?
It works. The issue we have is that it actually interacts with our professional products. It reacts. There's a chemical reaction between that substance and the professional products we use, which is why in most salons across the UK and Ireland, if you have got henna on your hair, we will not colour your hair, period.
Would you have to cut it off?
Yes.
The tea hath been spilt. Because I did not know that.
But we would treat exactly the same if someone had sunning or any form of like anything that can create a form of reactant or any form of kind of chemical reaction on the hair that will put the hair integrity at risk. We as professionionals will not colour it. And that's when we go back into what you originally said. You don't know that information. When you're standing in the middle of, you know, you've gone to Benidorm, you've had your henna tattoo, you've got a sleeve of henna.
Whole
sleeve, yeah.
Carry on.
100%. You've done the whole sleeve, and then also you've gone to yourself, you come back, you go to Lush and you get a nice henna soap bar that you decide to shampoo your hair, and then you go down to Superdrug and you pick up a box of, you know, vibrantred.com in a box, and then you go home and your hair's like foaming and like snap, crackle and pop. You know what I mean?
You're like, what happened?
What happened? And it's the fact that we don't just pluck these statistics or these facts out of the air. We have lots of hours and time of training, education, case studies, you know, actual activity and educational purposes where we go and try these things to say it's not safe. It's not safe. So, you know, henna for me, we do not touch it.
You don't touch it.
We do not touch it.
And considering my thing is that I honestly really want us to go to a professional. I know there's a cost attached.
Yeah.
But there's also a cost attached if you don't. Right?
Yes.
There's a cost either way.
Yeah, I think the cost on the latter though is far greater.
I mean, yes.
You know?
Agreed. So with that said, I feel like definitely tread lightly with henna, guys, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that if you came in with a head full of henna thinking, and the problem is that we're told things like henna, well, I don't know who we is, but I know someone said that henna was like a safer, less harsh option.
But they're not wrong in terms if you're using true henna, because true henna has been used like within the Ayurvedic or the Indian communities for thousands of years.
In the aisles where it says henna, henna,
that ain't real henna.
No, it's very unlikely.
It's very unlikely it's real henna.
Oh, I feel so deceived.
We have the same thing with shea butter. Shea butter. The shea butter I get shipped in from Nigeria is different to what I get in a bottle of can too.
Same. It's not the same. No, if we're going to go there, go there.
I said the C word.
It's not the same. All right? It's a safe place. This isn't sponsored.
But you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? It's like, it's different. And like for us as hairdressers, like there is proof and we do incompatibility tests. It's taking us old school, isn't it? In terms of kind of like why we would never work with, you know, henna like that. If it's true henna, I'd still be skeptical because there are still impacts of it, of how you can have a metallic reaction.
Yeah.
However, for us, henna, sunning, lightening shampoos, and the list goes on of stuff that we won't touch.
Because the professional will be like, no.
100%, because it will impact what you want and what you come to us with, what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
You won't be able to achieve it.
And you want to hope the professional says no, because if the professional doesn't know or just says, yeah, sure.
Imagine.
I've got so many photos and pictures of things that have happened, you know, in training sessions. And this is not me like, come to my training session, everyone's hair goes green. But
sign me up!
2 tickets, please.
But, you know, sometimes people won't be honest with you. It's always the hairdresser's fault to an extent because they should always do a strand test. However, that is not always.
I was going to say, with a strand test, could you actually find everything?
Yeah, if you're doing the right test, you're looking for the right things, you're going to find the answers. Yeah.
Okay, so the lies won't
sometimes
matter.
it doesn't happen. You know, sometimes those tests don't get done for various reasons. It's usually timing. That's what happens in the salon pretty often. Typically things like sun-in or like chamomile sprays, but they've got peroxide in. They go green.
What world are we living in?
They snap or they go green.
Yeah.
Oh
so you want to hope your hairdresser says no.
This
Because
is actually
the
like, this is
alternative
really
is
shocking.
worse.
Okay.
And I think that just says like the cost there for me.
Yeah.
You know, there are different avenues.
Yeah.
You know, if you want something done properly and it means a lot to you,
I think my
you'll pay
mindset
for
is
it.
very different now. My mindset is different, obviously, because of the trauma, but more so because I'm very proud of it.
Yeah. You've
Really
done
proud of it.
100%. You've done such an amazing job.
My buddy.
Yeah, it's a huge transition. And, you know, not only is it so liberating, it's beautiful. It's part of your identity.
Yeah.
And so when you do choose to colour it,
I'm going to be so careful.
yeah, but it should be something that is a perfect collaborator with your personality to ensure that you get to protect everything you've worked so hard for.
I don't think people, again, this is not putting you on Front Street, but I don't think a lot of us care enough about our hair. I only recently started loving it.
That breaks my heart.
I only recently started loving it enough to actually be like, I would put hundreds aside. And I really will. I will put hundreds of pounds aside when the time is right, after I've given it a good year to 2 years of growth.
See how that dropped from 2 years down to a year? I told you.
She's getting excited.
A year to 18 months.
I'm telling you, she's gonna drink that henna.
No.
Louis, you see it's blocked. We've blocked you.
I'll be outside and they'll be like, don't let her in, don't let her in, don't let her in. And I'll be like, come on. It's been 6 months.
You've got to cut it all off again.
I know.
No.
But I really will put a wedge aside and I'll be happy to do it. But I love my afro so much right now.
Yeah.
I can't not.
Yeah.
It's not worth the risk. I'm not risking this afro. And the problem is, until you get to a place in your hair care journey where you ride or die for your afro, for your curls, for your waves, I promise you, you will keep spending $7.99 and keep damaging your hair.
Yeah,
It's a step we don't realise. I think before we even get to Rio, before we get to Anneliesse, we need to get to the point where it's like, why don't I care enough? Why am I not worried?
Yeah.
Because when it comes to your skincare, let me not. When it comes to the things you put on your body, or for the ladies out there, your foof, right, you don't put anything there.
Hey, yo.
It's true. We take it lightly.
Look after my food very well, thank you very much.
About my food.
I love it.
But we take certain things so seriously. Like, even some of us will be like, is that gluten-free?
Yes.
Is that vegan? Do you have oat milk? But then it's literally like, I will get this £1.99 Poundland dye. But you just got a vegan patty.
But do you not think as well? I think there's a lot of questions on the beauty industry with responsibility for that as well. I mean, in regards to the pressure.
Part 2.
Yeah,
Part 2.
Part 2.
Part 2, yeah.
I'm just going to rent a flat next door.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Because let's be real, people are going to dye their hair at home anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But I think they will go in with caution. And what I don't want is for us to basically instill fear and not at least let them like take something away, something tangible that they can action when they inevitably say, financially, I just don't have it.
No.
So, from both of you, please, Ria, we'll start with you. If somebody is like, I just don't have the peas for it, can you give them a couple tips, I beg?
Yeah, 100%. I think the first thing first is if you find yourself in a situation where professional hair colour or getting a professional service isn't in your remit or doesn't work for you, when it comes to selecting a product that's on a shelf in a supermarket or wherever you buy your box dye, try and aim for someone who looks very similar to you on the box.
Does that matter?
100%.
I thought they just did it so that we didn't get upset anymore.
For me personally, I always think if you don't have the expertise, the skill set, the technical skill, or the understanding of your hair health, scalp integrity, all that stuff, it's probably easier to play it safe by staying what's closer or looks very similar to you. Same way for me, respectfully, if I pick up a box that has Holly Willoughby's face on it and I use that on my hair,
Really?
I'm not going to look like Holly Willoughby.
I mean, no.
I'm going to look like Big Bird from Sesame Street.
You look fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, I'll wear it.
You're worth
I mean, yeah. I mean, we're both tall. It could work.
But does that actually matter then?
Yeah, for me personally, not to kind of put anyone in a box or a category
but
of,
speak the truth,
but
if
you
it
know,
helps.
when I ask for an inspo picture, if someone brings me an inspo picture of someone who doesn't share a similar eye colour, doesn't share a similar skin tone, like a couple of depth levels, and doesn't share a similar hair texture or type, I'm like, we're aiming for something that, you know,
not be in your
may
wheelhouse,
not be in your wheelhouse at
Yeah.
the time. And for me, I would just say, if you don't have that element of safety of knowing where do I go, what do I do, stick close to home. Right. Stick to something that looks familiar. Stick to something that's safe. And also try and go for a brand that's reputable. Try and go for a brand that's renowned. Don't you know, if you're gonna spend money and not that money, don't spend it on £1.99 Savers Box.
We've all seen them. We've all seen
yeah,
them.
like
Just
get a brand that's been around for a long time, and if you can, please patch test.
Yeah.
For me, that's non-negotiable for me. And then you might actually weigh up and go, actually, 2 box dyes cost me £20. I can go down to my local academy or my local college and they're doing a full head tint for £20.
That's actually a sick idea.
And then you can have professional colour, skin test properly with right application. So
Fabulous!
that would be my
Anneliesse!
My first thing would have to echo what Rio said about allergy testing.
Yeah.
Because
It's really it's quite serious.
Yeah. It really is.
Do you see our face? Like, yes.
We're just doing it for the banter. But no, it's really serious.
It's really serious,
cool.
for sure. So that would have to be the first thing,
Okay.
because safety before
Anything,
anything. And secondly, again, I think like if you can find an academy or because basically what I'm saying is don't. So
I was saying
I'm
like,
trying to find an alternative. If you can find an academy or salons a lot of salons have assistants, apprentices, so they need training. So they typically have training nights or training days for that.
Yeah.
Just go and ask them, like go in physically and ask them if they do that. Okay, you're probably not going to get a perfect set of highlights from a trainee, but it's
in comparison,
going to probably be better than what you would try and do
Do you know
yourself.
what's really
100%.
funny
You know?
about the way that the devil is real? I will sit there and I will be like, trainee in my hair. And absolutely not. Where did I study?
Thank you.
Where's my certification?
Can we come correct?
I just had that realization where I was like, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
Because I always have this weird bougie, like, I want the top stylist in the salon, please. Not that I can afford her, mind.
For £40.
I'd still be able to get them because,
That's it.
for
They're gonna
example, like when Rio or I would do a demonstration on a course, then we need models.
Exactly.
How would you be privy to when you do? How would you know?
Socials.
You have to follow
social
them.
media.
Got to follow
Social.
them.
Got to follow. Yeah, 100%.
So glad.
Plug it, babe. Plug it.
So organic.
100%, yeah.
That actually did well done, guys.
Yeah. The thing is, we're always looking for models. It is out there. I think it's like, that's why this space is so important to have this conversation, because people might not even be savvy or know.
I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, like as educators, we're educating. So we're training. So the level of service that we offer to our paying clients would be slightly different to when we're in an educational setting. However, with that being said, if anything, you know, you're still eyes on deck. We've still got, you know, involvement, and we're looking at hair even more deeply than we always do. Because we're training. Like, and people have to learn. Our generation and kind of like our industry went through this lull, didn't it, in terms of kind of like new blood coming into the industry.
Sure.
And it's starting to revive again. So if anything, now is the time.
Good time.
To you know, reach out to your local salon. Do you do training evenings? Do you do like academy sessions? They do. And there are a lot of them in like cities and towns and outskirts. There are options. And that's why for us, you know, we don't ever want to tell someone don't do it. But for us, our option would always be, you know, there is another option.
I think my only consideration to add to that would be if you are somebody with afro, curly or textured hair, try and seek out, you know, if it's an academy or an education facility or a salon that is experienced in that. Going back to mitigating risk.
Very smooth.
If you can find one that kind of specialises and does that, you're probably more likely to have a positive experience.
Yes.
Relaxers and colour.
Oh God.
Shall we do that before we wrap up? Someone actually did ask me on Instagram so they said, which is worse in terms of damage? So if you did one of them wrong, if you did a relaxer wrong and you did colour wrong, which is worse? So let's touch on that quickly, and then let's talk about
I'm going to get sent for in the comments.
Relaxing.
I'm going to get sent for in the comments.
No, it's a safe place. I'll block the comments. I won't.
Okay.
All right, talk to me.
pH scale.
Yeah.
You know exactly where we're going.
Yeah.
pH scale. Same vibe, right? you know, a relaxer normally sits very high on the alkaline level of pH scale. So your pH scale, for those of you guys at home, goes from a scale of 0 up to 14.
Right.
Anything from 0 to kind of like 6.5, we class as acidic, meaning that we get to close the cuticle.
Yeah.
Anything from kind of 7, we call neutral, like water in your blood. And then anything from like 7.5 all the way up to 14, some scales say 13, is what we call alkaline.
Right.
The majority of your hair colours,
Yep.
especially permanent hair colour, are alkaline based because, like we spoke about earlier,
Yeah.
open the door.
Hey,
Open that door. So to open that door to get a colour going,
Yeah.
that's great. Now, when we're looking at relaxers,
Yeah.
they are even higher than a pre-lightener, than a bleach.
They're
on that
higher on
scale.
the
Yes.
pH scale than a bleach.
Yes. Some of those relaxers are on the same level on a pH scale as like an oven cleaner. So what you're cleaning your oven with,
Oh, I heard.
you're putting on your hair and scalp to try and basically fit into a social construct. Do not get me started.
Do not get me
of
started.
relaxing your hair.
So you've done that with oven cleaner, and then people are bleaching it.
Yeah, you just mustn't.
Yeah.
Really, it's
I
like
love how relaxed she is.
it's
Just go.
realistically, if you don't want the hair to like be at extremely high risk of breakage, I would say like far more likely to break than not to break.
Yeah.
I would never advocate combining a relaxer with a bleach.
Never.
I mean, the videos
Never.
on the internet are enough to go by, because that hair slides off.
Of course
It's
it
like a
does.
slip and slide.
It's gone. Like it's gone. And the thing is, like I said, like, yes, you can whack on a wig or a weave. Yeah, you can do that. But the fact that the aftermath of your hair, your scalp, after the damage is done, it's done. It's like a tornado's come through and ripped everything and destroyed
Also,
everything.
somebody said something, and you guys might be able to tell me this, but they said something like, even after you've stopped relaxing, sometimes, like, depending on how much you relax, like, it could penetrate. It could have, like, penetrated under the hair underneath the scalp could still be impacted by old relaxer or old chemicals.
I think you got to be careful. Anytime you're putting anything on the skin and it sits on the epidermis, you run the risk of it going into your
Epidermis,
systems.
your scalp.
Exactly. You run the risk of, sorry guys, you run the risk of it, going into kind of like your system. For me personally, the reason which someone uses a relaxer is completely down to their own personal preference. I've got some of my clients who still advocate for a relaxer, still want it done, but it's done professionally, it's done on time, and it's not done ad hoc here, there, with a multitude of different relaxers, different brands all the time. We use one consistent family and brand. We know we have a system in place. Okay. Now I'm lucky enough that I've got one of my clients who can be able to play around with it, but if she's playing with colour, she's playing around with semi-permanent colours.
Right, okay.
She's playing with that
So
with the
there
most
is
gentle form of
an
colouring.
Adaptation.
Exactly.
Right? We have to make provisions.
Yeah.
Like, we can't be doing the super strength
No.
and then the 40 bowl.
It's just too much. It won't exist anymore. It won't. It'll be dust.
Do you know what? I just love how polite you are. I'm like, it's going home in a bag. Okay? It's no longer yours. It now belongs to the premise that it
belongs
fell
to the
off in.
street.
You'll be scattering those ashes.
Not the ashes of the hair that fell.
Oh my God.
He lies. He lies.
Episode 7.
Oh my God. Ladies,
Yeah.
this has been fabulous.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I've
No,
learned
I've
so
loved it.
much.
Yeah. I feel like we could have done another
We
3
could
hours.
have gone all day.
Yeah, we could.
But you guys are going to have to let us know if you want more debates. I'll bring them back. I will, I promise. Talk to them about how they can find you. Anneliesse?
You can find me principally on Instagram, Anneliese_Hesse is my personal page, or at Humankind Hair.
Yes, the real.
You can find me on my work page at on Instagram at Rio at Revlon Professional UK, or you can follow me on my personal page. It's all about fitness and mental health and wellness.
Love that.
Yeah, at Refit with 3 I's, RIIIFIT. So yeah, you can find me there.
Fabulous. And in case y'all don't know, which is rude because you're on my channel, but it's okay, you can find me at Texture Talks UK. There is another one that's just Texture Talks. I don't know who that is. It's not me. Texture Talks UK. For the UK, please, I beg. And that's on Instagram, okay? And as I said, make sure you subscribe, because I have some content coming in about 3 weeks, and you will miss it. if you don't subscribe. Thank you so much for joining me, guys.
Absolute
you.
pleasure. Thank
This
you
has been
so much.
fantastic. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.